A very good morning to one and all. I am Dr. M. Abu Bakr Siddiq from the Department of Chemistry, Islamia College, Vaniambadi. Now, in this session, we shall discuss about the basics of molecular spectroscopy and some aspects of rotational spectroscopy in detail. Spectroscopy is nothing but the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. Sun is the source of electromagnetic radiation and which is dissipated in space in enormous amounts. The electromagnetic radiation consists of wavelength of different radiations of different frequencies, starting from the lowest frequency radio frequency radiation to the highest frequency gamma radiations. The lowest frequency radio frequency waves ranging from 1 centimeter to 1 meter in length, and then the next lower frequency will be microwave radiation, and then infrared radiation, and then visible radiation, and then ultraviolet radiation, X radiation, and highest frequency radiations are gamma radiations, where the frequency increases from right to left and the wavelength increases from left to right as shown in the diagram. The different parts of electromagnetic radiation interacts with the matter to give different types of spectroscopy. For example, the radio frequency waves interacts with the matter to get resonance spectroscopy like NMR and ESR, and microwave radiation interacting with the matter to give you the rotational spectroscopy or microwave spectroscopy. When infrared radiation interact with the matter, we obtain infrared or vibrational spectroscopy. When visible and ultraviolet radiation interact with the matter, we get electronic spectroscopy. X radiations interacting with the matter, you get core electron spectroscopy, and gamma radiations, it can give you a nuclide spectroscopy, because gamma radiations possess the smallest wavelength which can penetrate into the nucleus of an atom. And now, the different components of electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation consists of electric and magnetic wave propagated perpendicular to each other, and wavelength of a wave is nothing but the distance between one crust to another, or the distance between one trough to another trough. Frequency is nothing but the number of crust or trough passing at a fixed point at a given time. Amplitude is nothing but height of each peak in watts per square meter. And the energy of electromagnetic radiation can be interpreted with its frequency and wavelength. Delta E equal to h mu, when mu is replaced by c by lambda, and this become delta E is equal to hc by lambda. And similarly, 1 by lambda is equal to delta E by hc. 1 by lambda is nothing but the mu bar or frequency number. Frequency number is the convenient way. Mu bar or frequency number is the convenient way of representing the spectrum rather than in a wavelength. Now, the electromagnetic radiation interact with the matter to give you different properties. The lowest frequency radiation, like microwave radio frequency radiation, can give you resonance, and the next um, microwave region can give you rotation of the molecule, and when it interact with the next infrared radiation, it can give you vibration, it can cause vibrations of a molecule. And when UV and visible radiation interact, it can excite the outermost electron of an atom, give you electronic spectroscopy. And similarly, when X-rays interact, the core electron can be excited, uh, and even when higher energy is supplied, the electron can be ejected out of an atom to give you ions called photoionization. This is the energy level diagram of a diatomic molecule. You can see the electronic energy levels, and within the electronic energy level you have rotational and vibration energy level. Within the vibration energy level you can find rotational energy levels. And the rotational energy levels, like other electronic and vibration energy levels, is also a quantized energy level. Now we can move into the rotational spectroscopy. Rotational spectrum of a molecule arises due to interaction of molecular dipole with the electromagnetic field. The essential condition for a molecule to give a rotational spectroscopy is the permanent dipole moment, and no spectrum will be obtained if a molecule has a zero dipole moment, and molecule should be in a gaseous or a vapor phase. And the quantum energy of a microwave photons actually matches with the energies of a rotational energy levels, and hence we can get the rotational transition as a result the rotational spectra. The rotational motion of a molecule is also quantized like electronic and vibrational energy level, as I said earlier. Absorption of microwave radiation also causes heating due to increase in molecular tumbling or rotational activity, and that is why it is being used in microwave oven. So the very important aspect of the rotational spectroscopy is the classification of molecule according to its moment of inertia. Moment of inertia is calculated from the formula I is equal to mr squared. Based on the moment of inertia of a rotating molecule, the molecule can be classified based on three principal axes, x, y, and z. For convenience, we can call it as IA, IB, and IC. I mean, the moment of inertia along the x-axis can be called as IA, along the y-axis can be called as IB, and the z-axis can be called as IC. And the three classifications are symmetric rotor, asymmetric rotor, and spherical rotor. And since the rotating molecule looks like a top, and hence it can also be called a symmetric top, asymmetric top, and spherical top. A symmetric rotor consists of two moment of inertia. IB is equal to IC, it's one moment of inertia, and then IA, the another moment of inertia, which can be classified into prolate, oblate, and linear molecules. Example for a prolate is CH3F methyl fluoride. Example for oblate molecule is BF3, and for linear molecule like acetylene, where IA is more or less equal to 0, IB is equal to IC. Hence, we have only one moment of inertia. For asymmetric rotor, where all the three moment of inertia, I mean rotation along the three axes, causes three different moment of inertia, and hence we have three moment of inertia values. IB is not equal to IC, which is not equal to IA. Example of such kind are water, acetylene chloride. Example for spherical rotor is methane, SF6 and UF6, where IA is equal to IB and is equal to IC. In this case, no spectrum will be obtained because a molecule upon rotating along the three axes should produce three different shapes. and the moment of inertia should also change. But in the spherical rotator, along rotation along any axis do not produce any moment of inertia change, and there is no change of shape, and the net dipole moment for such a molecule is also 0. Now let us come to a study on diatomic rigid rotator. Now, what is a diatomic rigid rotator? The diatomic molecule like HCl or HBr, which upon rotation, okay, brings no change in the bond length. That is, the bond length or internuclear distance of a diatomic molecule is fixed, and hence the name rigid rotator. And for this, the rotation energy is quantized. Now let us consider a diatomic rigid rotator and of this type, and draw it. Let us deduce the energy levels. Now we have a diatomic molecule of masses m1 and m2, which can be rotated perpendicular to the axis. The center of gravity passes through the rotational axis. You can call this as a center of mass or center of gravity, Cm or Cg. Bond length is fixed between the two molecules, which is nothing but R0. The rotation, the distance from center of gravity to the mass first atom M1 is called R1, and the distance from center of gravity to the second atom M2 is called R2. Now R0 is equal to R1 plus R2, and from this you can also reduce the values of R1 and R2. R2 is equal to R0 minus R1. R1 is equal to R0 minus R2. The moment of inertia of this diatomic molecule is equal to I is equal to m1 r1 squared plus m2 r2 squared. As the system is balanced along the center of gravity, you can write this equation m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Now you can substitute equation 3 in equation 2. You can get I is equal to r1 r2 into m1 plus m2, and you can substitute the value of r1 and r2 in equation 4. R1 can be deduced as r0 minus r2. Upon substituting this, m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. From here we substitute the value of r2, r0 minus r1, and then m2 r0 minus r1, and which finally you can reduce this r1 into m2 by m1 plus m2 r0. Similarly, the r2 value m1 by m1 plus m2 into r0. And now substituting the value of r1 and r2 in the above equation 4, now you can get the moment of inertia I is equal to m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 r0 squared. This is the final equation, and this can be further reduced. I is equal to mu r0 squared. Mu is nothing but the reduced mass of a diatomic molecule. Mu is equal to m1 m2 by m1 plus m2. Now you have to remember this formula, which will be very much useful for your for solving the problems. You can calculate the moment of inertia of a molecule using this formula. You can calculate the reduced mass of a molecule, and you can calculate the bond length or internuclear distance of a diatomic molecule. So if any two parameters are given, you can calculate the third one. So a diatomic molecule which is having a permanent dipole moment or a magnetic moment generates an electric field, and this electric field can interact with the electric component of electromagnetic radiation, producing a torsion. So the rotational energy levels So changes for a molecule upon introducing an electromagnetic field. The rotational energy levels can be calculated from the Schrodinger equation for the system represented by that molecule, I mean the diatomic molecule. We directly take up the solution of the Schrodinger equation here. Ej is equal to h squared by 8 pi squared I j of j plus 1 in joules, where j is the rotational quantum number starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. H is the Planck's constant. I is the moment of inertia. The rotational spectra are generally expressed in terms of wave numbers. I have already told you, wave numbers are the convenient terms to apply it in spectroscopy, and hence the energy value Ej is converted into its uh, rotational number or frequency value. So rotational number, I mean the wave number is equal to Ej by Hc. So dividing the equation 10 by Hc, we get h squared by 8 pi squared I Hc j of j plus 1. So this is another important equation. Here we can abbreviate the above equation as b of j into j plus 1, where b is equal to h by 8 pi squared Ic. B is the rotational constant. J is the rotational quantum number. H is the Planck's constant. I is the moment of inertia. C is the velocity of light. Now you have to remember this formula also in order to solve the problems. Now, upon substituting the different rotational quantum number in the above equation, in the above energy equation, you will get different values of rotational constant. You can look at the diagram. For the right one in the right hand side is the rotational quantum number. The one in the y-axis, I mean in the left hand side, is the rotational constants. When you substitute j is equal to 0, the b value is 0. When j is equal to 1, it becomes 2b. When j is equal to 2, it is 2b, and then 6b, 12b, up to etc. Now, different transitions between the two energy levels from 0 to rotational quantum number from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4 will give you the different spectral lines. From 0 to 1, you get 2b, and from 0 to 2 to 3, you get 4b, 3 to 4, 6b, and 4 to 5, 8b, and so on. And this difference in frequencies can be calculated from this formula, E j dash minus E j double dash. J dash is the corresponds to the level in the excited state. J double dash corresponds to the level in the ground state. And this will give you 2b into j. Rotation, the another very important point you have to remember here is the rotational selection rule for the rotational spectra, which is delta j is equal to plus or minus 1. Plus 1 corresponds to the absorption, and minus 1 corresponds to emission from higher level to the lower level. So always the transition will be between the two successive levels, not on the alternate levels. So from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on, or 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, and 1 to 0. And it will never be on the alternate. So the spectral, when you substitute the different b values and calculate the intensity frequency of the transitions, the adjacent spectral lines will be located 4b, 2b, 4b, 6b, and 8b, and you can observe the distance between the two successive spectral lines is always 2b, and this is a very important point you have to keep in mind. Now, the diatomic molecule as a non-rigid rotator. So, what is a non-rigid rotator? Non-rigid rotator is a real system. Rigid rotator is an ideal system which is derived only through approximation. Non-rigid rotator is a real system where a diatomic molecule is considered with vibration. Real bonds are elastic to some extent. So the elasticity of the bond results in the vibration energy, and hence the vibrational energy will be associated with the rotational energy of the molecule. So this change in vibration energy changes the quantity R and B during vibration, depending on the mass of the atom and the elasticity of the bond. The internuclear distance R changes upon vibration, and when the R changes, the reduced mass, when the mass of the atom changes, then the moment of inertia will change. When the moment of inertia changes, the quantity B changes, rotational constant B changes. So you can see this formula, B equal to H by 8 pi squared IC. When the masses changes, moment of inertia changes. Okay, when the mass of the atom changes, the reduced mass changes. The reduced mass changes because reduced mass is directly proportional to moment of inertia. I is equal to mu R squared. So when the reduced mass changes, moment of inertia changes, and when the moment of inertia changes, the rotational constant B also changes. So now this is the energy level of a non-rigid rotator of a diatomic molecule, where the solution is derived from Schrodinger equation. We directly take up this equation, Ej equal to h squared by 8 pi squared I j of j plus 1 minus h power 4 32 pi power 4 I squared r squared k j squared into j plus 1 whole squared in joules. As usual, we can convert this energy term into a frequency term. So energy term E divided by Hc results in a formula, and that formula can be abbreviated. Finally, you get B of j into j plus 1 minus dj squared j plus 1 whole squared centimeter inverse. Now, B is the rotational constant and D is the centrifugal distortion constant. So this is a new term we are introducing in the non-rigid rotator. The centrifugal distortion constant arises out of the elasticity of the bond. Okay. So from the formula, the value of B and D can also be deduced. So when you, upon comparing the vibrational frequencies, they are in the order of 10 power 3 centimeter inverse compared to B and D. D is always very small. B is of the order of 10 centimeter inverse and D is of the order of 10 power minus 3 centimeter inverse. So when compared to B, D is negligibly very small. But still, with respect to the spectral lines, we cannot neglect the value of D. Okay, so another point to be noted is the selection rule. Delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. So this is the same selection rule for a like a rigid rotator. The selection rule doesn't change upon the elasticity of the bond. Okay, delta J is equal to plus or minus 1 for rigid rotator as well as non-rigid rotator. Now the frequency of the spectral line is equal to delta E is equal to 2b j plus 1 minus 4d j plus 1 whole cube centimeter inverse. Okay, so this formula you have to keep in mind. Now, what is the difference between rigid rotator and a non-rigid rotator? So the transitions of a rigid rotator is almost similar to that of a non-rigid rotator. The selection rule is the same, but the spectral line, each spectral line in non-rigid rotator will undergo a displacement towards a lower frequency region. So that displacement towards a lower frequency region is mainly because of subtracting this value dj squared j plus 1 all squared because of the centrifugal distortion of a flexible bond. Now let us try to solve some problems in the rotational spectra. This is a CSIR question asked in June 2011. Now, which one of the following exhibit a rotational spectra? Option A hydrogen, option B nitrogen, option C carbon monoxide, and option C carbon dioxide. Now I have given you the solution as well as, so that you can reason out. You can see, I told you the condition for a molecule to give rotational spectroscopy is it should possess a permanent dipole moment. So among the four atoms, hydrogen, nitrogen, they are homonuclear diatomic molecule and do not possess a permanent dipole moment. Whereas carbon dioxide is considered, the net dipole moment for this molecule is cancelled. It doesn't possess a net dipole moment because carbon at the center, two oxygen atoms at both sides, the negative charge is by the oxygen atom, and the center carbon possesses a positive charge. So the charges are nullified, and hence carbon dioxide do not possess a permanent dipole moment. So hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide cannot give you a rotational spectra, whereas carbon monoxide can give you rotational spectra. So the right answer is C. Now this is another simple question. Which among the chosen from Banwell, molecular spectroscopy by Banwell, which among the following molecule will show a microwave rotational spectra and why? The first atom, hydrogen, as you know, it cannot give you a rotational spectra because a homonuclear diatomic molecule without any permanent dipole moment. HCl can give you a rotational spectra which possesses a permanent dipole moment, a linear molecule. Methane and the last one, SF6, both are spherical top molecules, where the moment of inertia Ia is equal to Ib is equal to Ic, where the shape doesn't change upon rotation and the moment of inertia also never change upon rotation, and it causes no dipole moment change, hence no rotational spectra can be observed. Now molecules like methyl chloride and methylene chloride, water, they can give you microwave or rotational spectroscopy. Now here is a question asked in the CSIR June 2011. The microwave spectrum of molecule yields three rotational constants. The molecule is, I hope you understand this question, the microwave spectrum of a molecule which yields three rotational constants among the following. So four choices are given. One is the prolate symmetric molecule, prolate symmetric top molecule, and second is a spherical top molecule. Third one is an asymmetric top molecule, and fourth one is oblate top molecule. The answer is given here as a asymmetric top molecule. Only the asymmetric top molecule possesses three different moment of inertia and hence three different rotational constants. So you have to relate this rotational constant with the moment of inertia by this formula, B equal to h by 8 pi squared IC. So when you have three different moment of inertia along the three axes, x, y, z, I mean IA, IB and IC, naturally you will have three values of rotational constant, three values of B. Okay. So in the above molecules, prolate and oblate and linear molecules, they possess two moment of inertia, two I values, because in all the cases, prolate, oblate and linear molecule, IB is equal to IC and which is not equal to IA. So IB is equal to IC becomes one single moment of inertia, IA is another moment of inertia. So together, totally, there are only two moment of inertia values. So there can be only two rotational constants. So this is not the answer. And spherical top molecule has only one moment of inertia I value, because the moment of inertia upon rotating along the three axes IA, IB and IC are equal. IA is equal to IB is equal to IC. So and hence rotation along any axis can cause you only one moment of inertia. Okay, only one I value. So therefore with one I value you will get only one B value, one rotational constant, and this is not the answer. Okay. Now the asymmetric, let us come to asymmetric top molecule, where IA is not equal to IB, which is not equal to IC. So therefore you have three different moment of inertia, and the three different moment of inertia will give you naturally three different rotational constants. So now if you read the question once again, you'll be able to give you the answer by yourself. The microwave spectrum of a molecule yields three rotational constants for a molecule, which is prolate molecule, spherical top molecule, asymmetric top molecule, oblate top molecule. So asymmetric top molecule has got three different moment of inertia and three different rotational constants. Now there's another question from CSIR, June 2012. So for a diatomic molecule AB, the energy for a rotational transition from J equal to 0 to J equal to 1 state is 3.9 centimeter inverse. The energy for the rotational transition from J equal to 0 to J equal to 4 would be choice A 3.9 centimeter inverse, choice B 7.8 centimeter inverse, choice C 11.7 centimeter inverse, and choice D 15.6 centimeter inverse. The solution for this problem is given here. Delta E for the transition from J equal to 0 to 1. Okay. So 2bj from 2bj, 1 minus 0 is a 0. So you have 2b. So for the transition from 0 to 1, J equal to 0 to J to 1, the spectral line width is equal to 3.9 centimeter inverse. Okay. So which is nothing but the 2b value. The spectral line width is constant or is the same for all the spectral lines. The spacings between the spectral line is 2b always. So therefore from J equal to 0 to 1, the 2b is 3.9 centimeter inverse. Now when the 2b is 3.9 centimeter inverse, 2b by 2 is equal to b, which is 1.95 centimeter inverse. So now we got the value of b. Okay, now the question is, what is the energy for the rotational transition from j equal to 3 to 4 state? Okay, so now for transition 3 to 4, the energy values from 0 to 1 it is 2b, from 1 to 2 it is 6b, from 4b, from 2 to 3 it is 6b, 3 to 4 it is 8b. So the transition energy value is, the spectral line value is 8b. So now you have found the b value. Upon substituting this b value in the formula 8b, 8 into 1.95, you will get 15.6 centimeter inverse. So the answer is, the correct answer is D, 15.6 centimeter inverse. So I hope you you have understood about the rotational constant calculation, spectral line values from these examples. Now let us move on to the next slide. This is a GATE question asked in the year 2007. The j equal to 0 to j equal to 1 rotational transition for hydrogen bromide, bromine of mass number 79, hydrogen mass number 1, occurs at 500.72 gigahertz, assuming the molecule to be a rigid rotator. The j equal to 3 to 4, j equal to 3 to j equal to 4 transition occurs at which centimeter, at which spectral line? Okay, 4 choices are given. Choice A, 50.1 centimeter inverse. Choice B, 6.8 centimeter inverse. Choice C, 16.7 centimeter inverse. And choice D, 83.5 centimeter inverse. Okay, now you can read the question once again. The j equal to 0 to j equal to 1 rotational transition for hydrogen bromide occurs at 500.72 gigahertz, assuming the molecule to be a rigid rotator. And what is the transition which occurs at j equal to 3 to j equal to 4? Okay, the answer is given here. The rotational transition for j equal to 0 to 1, the 2b value is 500.72 gigahertz. The spacings between the spectral line for first transition, and the energy difference between the two energy lines for the first transition j equal to 0 to 1. So from this you can calculate the b value, and for j equal to 3 to 4, the transition occurs at a okay, the spectral line, the energy difference will be 8b. Okay, so now you can multiply the b value, substitute this b value, 8 into 250.36 comes around 2002.88 gigahertz. Okay, now your question is about the transition. They don't want you the frequency gigahertz value. They want you must write the answer in frequency. So their frequency mu bar, frequency line. So 1 centimeter is usually equal to 30 gigahertz. We have to remember this value. So therefore 2002.88 gigahertz is equal to 2002.88 divided by 30 is equal to 66.76 centimeter inverse. Okay, so hope you understood this question. So you have to remember the spacings between the energy levels. Okay, so that you can very easily calculate. When j equal to 0 to 1, it is 2b, j equal to 2 to 3, it is 4b, and then 6b, 8b, 10b, 12b, and so on. So if you know this energy level difference delta E, you can very easily substitute the B values and find the answer by yourself. Now the last question is the rotational spectra of bromine fluoride consists of a series of equidistant lines spaced at 0.7143 centimeter inverse. Calculate the internuclear distance of bromine fluoride. So you are asked to calculate the bond length or internuclear distance of bromine fluoride, and you are provided with the spacings 2b value, which is around 0.7143 centimeter inverse. Okay. Now how to solve the problem, how to reduce the bond length. Okay, so this will be a very useful problem for you. Now the spacings between the spectral line 2b is 0.7143 centimeter inverse. From this you can calculate b value, 2b divided by 2. B is equal to h by 8 pi squared IC. We have this formula for a rotational constant. From this rotational constant value, you can derive the moment of inertia by bringing some changes in the equation. I is equal to h by 8 pi squared BC. Now you are having the B value. Okay, upon substituting the B value in the equation, all other values are known parameters. H is equal to Planck's constant 6.626 in 10 power minus 34. Pi is 3.14, and c is the velocity of light, 3 into 10 power 10 centimeter. So not in the meter, centimeter. B is the rotational constant. So rotational constant is already calculated. Now you can substitute the remaining values. Okay, C, H, and B value. The answer is 7.839 in 10 power minus 40. Okay, so now we have the moment of inertia value, B value, and moment of inertia value. So what is required in the equation, in the question is, we have to calculate the internuclear distance. So we have a formula relating the moment of inertia and internuclear distance or bond length, that is R is equal to square root of I by mu. R is equal to square root of I by mu, or I by mu to the power 1 by 2. So we already have the value of moment of inertia, and the only unknown value is the mu. Mu is the reduced mass. Reduced mass can be calculated using the formula mu is equal to m1 m2 by m1 plus m2. So mass 1 for fluoride is 19, for bromine it is 79. So substituting the values and multiplying by Avogadro number, you get 2.542 in 10 power minus 23. Okay. So now substituting in the ultimate formula, R is equal to square root of I by mu, you can substitute I value and mu value, which is already deduced. The net result is 1.756 into 10 power minus 8 centimeter inverse. Okay. So these are the possible questions we have discussed from the previous year CSIR and GATE examinations. You can find more problems from the molecular spectroscopy by Banwell and Atkins. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you very much.